All right, welcome back, everyone. Marvin Jackson here with Donna, Lou, and Lake, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Ravens because a lot of our viewers love the Ravens too. So let's talk a little bit about the Ravens. They are really, they had a great game, 38-6 over Cleveland. Cleveland's pretty talented, but they don't seem to be able to put it all together. But they are actually a talented team. With a lot of top draft choices and trades and all that. Lamar Jackson, though, 20 for 25. He and Russell Wilson had some great games. Russell was 30 of 35, I believe, this weekend. But Lamar, he's still showing that MVP level. Lou, can they keep that up?
Absolutely, they can keep it up. And I think it has to go back to what we are starting to see with the Washington Redskins, with the Washington football team. It has to do with coaching. John Harbaugh and what Ozzie Newsome left that team is amazing. I mean, they are expected to win. That is a quality franchise. So when you ask the question, can they keep it up? They can keep it up because of their coaching staff, and the coach is competent. The GM that left was competent and left a lot of players, a lot of football players to stock that cupboard. So I'm saying that anytime you hear of a John Harbaugh coach team, they have the potential to, as you said, keep it up.
Let me bring up a couple names. We have a young guy who's going to join us a few times later in the season. He's a Baltimore guy. His name is Punter. And he was a football player at Bowie State University. So he's going to be joining us a lot. But he gave me these names. Hollywood Brown had 5 receptions, 101 yards. Mark Andrews, 5 receptions, 58 yards, 2 TDs. Rookie running back, J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. Ohio State's bringing some players to the NFL. He showed a great deal of speed and patience. Punter was telling me. So they have a lot of weapons, but they also have a great defense. Lake, you want to talk about that team, how complete they might be?
Yeah, they're clearly one of the more complete teams in the NFL. They're the team that I have winning the Super Bowl this year over Seattle, so you three can remember that.
Okay, that's what Punter says they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have them taking the next step. I mean, they were one of the favorites last year. They were number 1 seed in the AFC last year and then obviously lost to Tennessee. But I think that served them well because they're still a young team and, they just had to take their lumps, But I think this year they're going to be dishing those lumps out quite a bit. I mean, they're complete. Mark Andrews, their tight end, he and Lamar Jackson have become perhaps one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL. Maybe on par with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey in Kansas City. So the irony is that those two teams are going to battle it out, in my opinion, for AFC supremacy. And again, I agree with Lou. John Harbaugh has that team well oiled, well coached. It's a class organization. I used to cover that team, and I haven't seen too many organizations in my day that run a tight ship the way they run up there in Baltimore. So Lamar Jackson, I think he's on pace for another MVP season. Him and Mahomes, they're going to battle it out. That's just how it's going to be.
Mahomes and Russell, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, I think they're going to be the AFC's version of the new Peyton Manning, Tom Brady rivalry. I think they're going to be going at it for a while.
All right, before we go to Donna, let me run off a couple other names. There's a new middle linebacker, Patrick Queen out of LSU, had 8 tackles, a sack, forced fumble. Then they have Tavon, and that's a new guy that they picked up. So they're still picking up guys. And then Tavon Young and Deshaun Elliott are defensive backs who have been injured, but they had a great game this week. After the injuries, it took them a couple years to come back, but this team just seems to just keep things going. They don't say, well, we've got injuries. They just keep picking up new people, and they have a lot of spirit up there. Donna, anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think Lou hit it when Ozzie Newsome left his team. Before he left this team, he put them in a good position to be a winner, not just after he left, but long after he left. They built the defensive line, they built the offensive line, and then they put together the core other players to constantly keep improving this team. And that's what you're seeing. And back to Lamar Jackson, you asked a question earlier, is he going to have an MVP season like he did the last year? The question probably is yes, because he went during this offseason and improved his game. He was basically known as the guy that's what's going to take off and run the ball. But when you look at him this year, he improved as far as his passing game. And that's what we wanted to see, improvement in his game. So I think he's going to be a better player in other areas that he wasn't before, which is going to make him a complete player. As Lou and Lake said, this Baltimore team is complete.
All right. Well, now let's talk about another thing that happened. It's a phenomenon in the NFL. We've got 10 starting black quarterbacks to start off the season on opening weekend. That is
Praise the Lord.
And I think, Lou, you said, somebody said 8 of them won, right? So that's pretty good. Those guys are balling. Those guys are playing. And it's really good at this time in our history, because of, all that's going on with the race relations and everything, social injustice. And you've got 10 starting black quarterbacks, 8 of them won. So I just wanted to bring that up because maybe some of our viewers may not realize that. But now we've got one more question, and each person, I want each of you to give us about 15 or 20 seconds on this question, and that is, Washington plays Arizona, and it's Kyler Murray at quarterback. Can that defense stop Kyler Murray and the Cardinals? Let's start with Lake.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, it's going to be difficult, but they had a really good opportunity to see a magician this past weekend, and that's what Carson Wentz is. He's a guy that extends plays. Kyler Murray's the ultimate, though, because he brings a level of elusiveness and speed eerily similar to Lamar Jackson. He's just a smaller version. So they're going to have to, play their assignments, stay in their lanes. But I think after what we saw with this defense last week, this is, to me, this game is the marquee game of the week, if you ask me, and I can't wait to see it. But I think they can contain the Cardinals.
All right, and Lou, what's your take on that?
Yeah, Kyler Murray's going to get his. We all know that. Let's not kid ourselves. He's going to get his, but they can definitely contain him, so it's not a lot. So they're going to be able to contain him. This defense has shown in that one game that they have enough to contain people. He's going to get his, but they have enough to contain him.
All right, and Donna.
Well, as Ron Rivera said, that this defense has to have energy and they've got to be able to rotate. But not only with Murray that you have to be concerned about, his receiving cores of Hopkins, Fitzgerald, that list goes on. And Hopkins had a big game in that first one. So the defense is going to they can't afford to start slow. But I think that they've got the tools to be able to pull this together and pull this out.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Always great analysts on the Sideline Report. Some of my best friends, too. All right. Well, we're going to say goodbye to our viewers. Thanks for joining us and watching in. We'll be here quite often, almost every week this season on the Sideline Report. We'll see you next time.